Elections Canada, your guide to registering and voting in a federal election. For inquiries, please contact Public Inquiries Unit, Elections Canada, 30 Victoria Street, Gatineau, Quebec, K1A 0M6. Telephone 1-800-463-6868. Fax 1-888-524-1444. Toll free. TTY 1-800-361-8935. Elections.ca. Copyright Chief Electoral Officer of Canada 2024. Table of Contents. Overview 5. How the Canadian Government Works 5. Resources 6. Information on Canada's System of Government 6. Information on Canadian elections, all levels of government 6. Information on Canadian elections, federal level 7. Registering to vote 8. What you need to know 8. Register or update your information before a federal election 9. The ways you can register or update your information 9. Register or update your information during a federal election 10. The ways you can register or update your information before you go to vote 10. The ways you can register or update your information when you go to vote 11. Proving your identity and address 13. Option 1. Show one piece of government-issued ID 13. Option 2. Show two pieces of ID 13. Option 3. Declare your identity and address in writing and have somebody vouch for you 13. Voting 15. Make a plan to vote 15. Your voting options 16. Voting on Election Day 16. Voting on advance polling days 18. Voting early at an Elections Canada office 19. Vote on campus 21. Voting by mail 22. Accessibility tools and services 25. The accessibility of your polling station 25. Accessibility tools and services 26. Voting options for electors living in a hospital, long-term care facility, or seniors residence 27. Voting at home 27. Overview. This guide will give you all the information you need to register and vote in a federal election. Voting is one way that you can be a part of the democratic process. Before you can vote in a federal election in Canada, you must be registered. Did you know? The right of every Canadian citizen to play a meaningful role in the electoral process is protected by law under Section 3 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. How the Canadian government works. In Canada, citizens elect representatives, or members of Parliament, to the House of Commons. These representatives, along with senators, make laws and decisions for the country and its people. In federal elections, citizens who are at least 18 years old can vote once for a candidate in their riding, also called an electoral district. The candidate who receives the most votes wins the seat to represent their riding in the House of Commons. The representative for your riding is your Member of Parliament. The political party with the most candidates elected to the House of Commons forms the government, and the party's leader becomes the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister and members of Parliament decide on Canada's national policies and priorities. They make sure those policies are put into action, and they guide the government's legislation through the House of Commons and the Senate. Canada recognizes that Indigenous peoples have an inherent right of self-government guaranteed in Section 35 of the Constitution Act, 1982. Negotiated agreements put decision-making power into the hands of Indigenous governments, who make their own choices about how to deliver programs and services to their communities. This can include making decisions about how to better protect their culture and language, educate their students, manage their own lands, and develop new business partnerships that create jobs and other benefits for their citizens. Self-government is part of the foundation for a renewed relationship and is a pathway to development and economic growth that generates benefits for Indigenous peoples. Resources. The following resources will give you a better understanding of how the federal government works and how elections work at different levels of government. Information on Canada's system of government. Parliament of Canada website. On this site, you can get an overview of Canada's Parliament and learn more about how Parliament works and Canada's system of government through text, infographics, and videos. External resource. Our Country, Our Parliament. This book, published by the Library of Parliament, explains Canada's system of government and democracy. External resource. Canada's political system. This page on Elections Canada's Elections and Democracy website, electionsanddemocracy.ca, provides background on Canada's parliamentary system and elections. Information on Canadian elections. All levels of government. There are 3 levels of government in Canada. 1. Municipal. 2. Provincial or territorial. 3. Federal. Each level is responsible for different areas that may impact your life. Check out these resources to learn more. Know your basics. This video explains the different levels of government. External resource. Apathy is boring. Infographics on the levels and branches of government. These diagrams show the different levels of government and their areas of responsibility. External resource. Apathy is boring. 3 levels of elections. This video explains how elections work at each level of government. It was developed by Elections Canada together with the provincial and territorial electoral agencies. Provincial and territorial elections. This page on Elections Canada's Elections and Democracy website has links to the agencies that administer provincial or territorial elections. The electoral system of Canada. This Elections Canada document explains how elections are delivered at the federal level. You can access these resources at inspiredemocracy.ca. Information on Canadian elections. Federal level. Elections step by step. This page on Elections Canada's Elections and Democracy website outlines the 5 steps of a federal election process. Registering to vote. What you need to know. Being registered to vote means that Elections Canada has your information in the National Register of Electors, a database of Canadians who are eligible to vote in federal elections. To register and vote in a federal election, you must be a Canadian citizen, be at least 18 years old, prove your identity and address. Your place of residence or home address is the place where you normally live, or the place you call home. The address that you are registered at determines your riding and your assigned polling station. If you leave your home temporarily for school, work, or any other reason, but plan to move back, you can still use your home address as your place of residence. Find out more about the requirements to prove your identity and address here. Did you know? Elections Canada takes many steps to keep voter registration information for millions of Canadians accurate and to safeguard the integrity of this information. Elections Canada manages two other voter registration databases: the International Register of Electors. This database lists Canadians living abroad who are eligible to vote by mail. The Register of Future Electors. This database lists Canadian citizens who are between 14 and 17 years old. Once they turn 18, they are added to the National Register of Electors. Register or update your information before a federal election. You can register to vote or update your voter information even before an election is called. If you do, you'll be on the list of electors and get important information about voting. If you decide to vote, being registered before makes the voting process easier. Here are the ways you can register or update your information. 1. Check Yes to both questions related to Elections Canada on your federal tax return. If you're eligible to vote and not already in the National Register of Electors, Elections Canada will accept this as your request to be added. Visit elections.ca for more information about this option. 2. Contact Elections Canada directly by phone at 1-800-463-6868 or 1-800-361-8935 TTY. Online using the Contact Us form. You can ask Elections Canada to send you a voter registration form by mail, email, or fax. Once you've filled it out, return the form along with copies of accepted ID to prove your identity and address. 3. Use the secure online voter registration service. Elections Canada's online voter registration service will ask you to answer 4 questions about your eligibility to vote. It will also ask you to enter your name. It will ask you to enter your name, date of birth, gender, address type, home address. To register, you will need to prove your identity and address. You will be asked for the number on your driver's license from any province or territory except Quebec, provincial or territorial ID card from Alberta, Newfoundland and Labrador, Saskatchewan, or Yukon. If you don't have one of these pieces of ID, you can visit the document submission page of the online voter registration service to provide another form of ID. To find out which ID you can use, see the list of accepted ID. To update your address, start by entering your previous address to check if you're registered. Once you have confirmed your registration, click the link under Need to update your address and enter your new address. If your name has changed or you need to make other kinds of registration updates, contact Elections Canada to request an update form. It will be sent by mail, email, or fax. Complete the form, sign it, and return it by mail, along with a copy of your proof of identity and address. Register or update your information during a federal election. To vote in a federal election, you must be registered. After a federal election is called, you can register either before or when you go to vote. You can also update your voter information, such as your address or name, during an election. Here are the ways you can register or update your information before you go to vote. 1. Through the online voter registration service. For your information to be updated on the list of electors in time for Election Day, you must register by the Tuesday before Election Day, 6 p.m. 2. At your local Elections Canada office. After an election is called, Elections Canada opens a local office in every riding across the country. You can register or update your information at any Elections Canada office by the Tuesday before Election Day, 6 p.m. Make sure you bring accepted ID to prove your identity and address. You can choose to vote by special ballot at the same time. Find your local office by using the Voter Information Service at elections.ca or calling 1-800-463-6868 or 1-800-361-8935 TTY. Did you know? When you vote by special ballot, your ballot won't show a list of candidates to choose from. Instead, there is a blank space on the ballot for you to write the name of the candidate you're voting for. Once you've filled out your ballot, you place it in the unmarked inner envelope provided and seal it. Next, you place the unmarked inner envelope in the outer envelope showing your information and seal it. Lastly, you sign and date the declaration on the front of the outer envelope. Once you are done, you drop the envelope in a ballot box. Here are the ways you can register or update your information when you go to vote. 1. At your assigned polling station on advance polling days or on Election Day. If you're registered, you should receive a voter information card in the mail. It tells you where and when you can vote. If you don't receive a voter information card, or if the information on it is incorrect, you may not be registered or your registration may not be up to date. 2. At any local Elections Canada office. When you go to vote at a local Elections Canada office, you'll be asked to complete an application for registration and special ballot with an election worker. You must show proof of your identity and address. You have until the Tuesday before Election Day, 6 p.m., to submit this application. Once you have done so, you will receive a special ballot voting kit. You can use it to vote while you're there, or take it with you and bring it back to the same Elections Canada office when you're ready to vote. If you're going to bring it back, remember that you must return your completed ballot by the Election Day deadline. 3. When you apply to vote by mail. When you vote by mail, you vote using a special ballot. You can ask for an application to vote by mail, which is called the Application for Registration and Special Ballot. Once Elections Canada receives your form, we will add or update your information on the list of electors. Here are the ways you can get an application. Online at elections.ca. At any local Elections Canada office by calling 1-800-463-6868 or 1-800-361-8935 TTY. Did you know? Once you apply to vote by mail or at an Elections Canada office, you can't change your mind and vote at advance polls or on Election Day. Proving your identity and address. When you register or update your information and vote, you must prove your identity and address. You have 3 options to prove your identity and address. Option 1. Show one piece of government-issued ID. It must have your photo, name, and current address. Example, your driver's license. Option 2. Show 2 pieces of ID. Both must have your name, and at least one must have your current address. Example, your voter information card and a bank statement. Visit elections.ca to see the full list of accepted ID. Option 3. Declare your identity and address in writing and have somebody vouch for you. If you don't have accepted ID, you can still vote by declaring your identity and address in writing. Someone who knows you and who is assigned to your polling station will have to vouch for you. This person must be able to prove their identity and address. They can vouch for only one person, except for electors in long-term care facilities. Elections Canada accepts the following types of ID. Original ID cards and documents, including e-statements and e-invoices. Documents issued electronically. You can print them or show them on a mobile device. Expired pieces of ID. Different pieces of ID from the same source If the documents have different purposes, example, an invoice and a transcript from the same school. Your voter information card as proof of address. You'll still need to bring one other piece of ID showing your name. Some voters may not be able to prove their address. If you live in or receive services from any of the following places, you can ask a staff member for a letter of confirmation of residence, a student residence, a First Nations band or reserve, an Inuit local authority, a seniors residence, a long-term care facility, a shelter or soup kitchen, a community-based residence. To get a letter of confirmation of residence, contact the establishment as soon as possible after an election is called. It may issue a letter of confirmation on its official letterhead or use the Elections Canada template letter of confirmation of residence available at elections.ca. You'll need to show a second piece of ID showing your name along with this letter when you register and vote. Did you know Elections Canada is working hard to make the electoral process and voter information materials more accessible to all Canadians? For example, we offer the Guide to the Federal Election and the list of accepted ID in 17 Indigenous languages, as well as more than 30 other languages besides English and French. Voting. Make a plan to vote. Knowing your voting options and what to expect can help you choose a time and place to vote that work best for you. Remember, you can vote almost any time during the election. To vote, you must be a Canadian citizen, be at least 18 years old on Election Day, be registered, and prove your identity and address. Get to know your riding and the candidates. During a federal election, the Voter Information Service shows information about each riding. Enter your postal code in the search box to get the name and a map of your riding, information about voter registration, information on where and when you can vote, the names and the political affiliation of the candidates that you can vote for. Did you know, by law, electors must have 3 consecutive hours to cast their vote on Election Day? If your hours of work do not allow for 3 hours in a row to vote, your employer must give you time off. Your employer gets to decide when in the day you will get this time off. Read more about time off to vote at elections.ca. Your voting options. Get to know your voting options and choose the one that works best for you. Vote on Election Day at your assigned polling station. Vote on advance polling days at your assigned polling station. Vote early at any Elections Canada office across the country until the Tuesday before Election Day. Vote early at a participating campus. Vote on campus offices open for 4 days. Vote by mail. Deadlines apply. Don't see a way to vote that works for you? Elections Canada offers other ways to vote for electors in exceptional situations, including living abroad, being away from home during the election, being or living with a member of the Canadian Armed Forces, experiencing homelessness, living in a long-term care facility or hospital, serving a prison sentence. Voting on Election Day. Where? You vote at your assigned polling station, based on where you live. Check your voter information card, use the online voter information service, or call Elections Canada at 1-800-463-6868 or 1-800-361-8935 TTY to find the date, hours, and address of your assigned polling station. When? Your assigned polling station will be open for 12 hours on Election Day. What to expect? Step 1. Find your polling station. When you enter the building, follow the signs to the voting location. When you get there, an election worker will greet you and show you to your polling station, voting service desk. You might have to wait while other voters are being served. Step 2. Show your ID. An election worker will ask you for your name and your proof of identity and address. If you're not yet registered to vote, an election worker can assist you. They will help you fill out a form to register to vote. Remember, there are 3 ways to prove your identity and address. Learn more about your options here or visit elections.ca. Step 3. Get your ballot. An election worker will cross your name off the list of electors, indicating that you have voted and cannot vote again in the election. They will then give you a folded ballot. You may request a list of candidates in large print or in Braille if you'd like one. An election worker or a support person can help you mark your ballot if needed. Step 4. Mark your ballot. Go behind the voting screen, mark your ballot, and refold it to keep your vote secret. You can mark your ballot with the pencil provided, or you can bring your own pen or pencil. Did you know? Election workers must follow strict procedures to ensure the secrecy of the vote. Ballots come in booklets with unique sequential serial numbers to ensure that only ballots handled by election officers are deposited in the ballot box. On receiving a marked ballot, an election officer, without unfolding the ballot, examines its serial number to verify that the ballot is indeed the same one that was handed to the elector by the election officer. The elections officer removes the tab with the serial number and gives the ballot back to the elector to put in the ballot box. Accessible voting. There are tools that you can ask for to help you mark your ballot. These include a large grip pencil, a magnifier, a tactile and Braille voting template. Did you know? Elections Canada's voting screens have no overhead cover. They let in maximum light so that you can read your ballot and voting instructions clearly. Step 5. Return your marked ballot. Return your ballot to the election worker. They will remove the tab on your ballot that identifies you and give you back your ballot. Put your ballot in the ballot box. Voting on advance polling days. Where? You vote at your assigned polling station, based on where you live. Check your voter information card, use the online voter information service, or call Elections Canada at 1-800-463-6868 or 1-800-361-8935 TTY to find the date, hours, and address of your assigned polling station. When? All advance polls will be open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, the week before Election Day. What to expect? Step 1. Find your polling station. When you enter the building, follow the signs to the voting location. When you get there, an election worker will greet you and show you to your polling station, voting service desk. You might have to wait while other voters are being served. Step 2. Show your ID. An election worker will ask you for your name and your proof of identity and address. If you're not yet registered to vote, an election worker can assist you. They will help you fill out a form to register to vote. Step 3. Get your ballot. An election worker will cross your name off the list of electors and give you a folded ballot. You may request a list of candidates in large print if you'd like one. An election worker or a support person can help you mark your ballot if needed. Step 4. Mark your ballot. Go behind the voting screen, mark your ballot, and refold it to keep your vote secret. You can mark your ballot with the pencil provided, or you can bring your own pen or pencil. Step 5. Return your marked ballot. Return your ballot to the election worker. They will remove the tab on your ballot that identifies you and give you back your ballot. Put your ballot in the ballot box. Voting early at an Elections Canada office. After a federal election is called, Elections Canada opens a local office in every riding across the country. Anyone who is eligible to vote can do so at an Elections Canada office. If you choose this voting option, you will vote by special ballot. An Elections Canada office may be a more comfortable voting environment for electors who want to avoid lines or crowds. Where? You can vote at any Elections Canada office across the country. Once an election is called, the addresses of the Elections Canada offices will be available online or by calling Elections Canada at 1-800-463-6868 or 1-800-361-8935 TTY. When? You can vote at any Elections Canada office until the Tuesday before Election Day, 6 p.m. The offices are open throughout the election period, 7 days a week. Hours of operation may vary. What to expect? Voting at a local Elections Canada office is different than voting on Election Day or advance polling days because you vote using the special ballot process. Step 1. Make sure your voter information is correct. An election worker will greet you and ask for your proof of identity and address. They will then add, update, or confirm your information on the list of electors. They may ask you to verify it on the computer screen. You can register or update your information only at the Elections Canada office in your riding. If you're visiting from another office and would like to register or update your information, you must also vote by special ballot. Step 2. Get your ballot. The election worker will help you complete an application for registration and special ballot. The election worker will then give you a ballot and instructions on voting. Depending on when you vote and whether you do so at your local Elections Canada office, you will get either a blank ballot, called a special ballot, or a regular ballot that lists the candidates. You can ask for the list of candidates in regular or large print if you need it and it's available. Step 3. Complete your ballot. Go behind the voting screen in the office. If you are given a special ballot, you will need to write the first and last name of the candidate you want to vote for in the space provided. You do not have to write the name of the candidate's political party. However, if you write only the name of a political party, your vote won't be counted. You can complete your ballot using the pencil provided, or you can bring your own pen or pencil. An election worker or a support person can help you complete your ballot if needed. Step 4. Keep your vote secret. Place your completed special ballot in the unmarked inner envelope provided and seal it. Then place the unmarked inner envelope in the outer envelope, showing your information, and seal it. Next, sign and date the declaration on the front of the outer envelope. Lastly, put the envelope in the ballot box. Vote on campus. Where? Elections Canada offices will be open on participating campuses across the country. Visit the Voter Information Service at elections.ca to find the one nearest you. When? Vote on campus offices will be open for 4 days, 2 weeks before Election Day. What to expect? Voting on campus is different than voting on Election Day or advance polling days because you vote using the special ballot process. Any elector can go to a Vote on Campus office to get information or to register and vote using the special ballot process. Step 1. Make sure your voter information is correct. An election worker will greet you and ask for your proof of identity and address. They will then add, update, or confirm your information on the list of electors. They may ask you to verify it on the computer screen. Step 2. Get your ballot. The election worker will help you complete an application for registration and special ballot. The election worker will then give you a ballot and instructions on voting. You can ask for the list of candidates for your riding in regular or large print if you need it and it's available. Step 3. Complete your ballot. Go behind the voting screen in the office and write the first and last name of the candidate you want to vote for on your special ballot. You do not have to write the name of the candidate's political party. However, if you write only the name of a political party, your vote won't be counted. You can complete your ballot using the pencil provided, or you can bring your own pen or pencil. An election worker or a support person can help you complete your ballot if needed. Step 4. Keep your vote secret. Place your completed special ballot in the unmarked inner envelope provided and seal it. Then place the unmarked inner envelope in the outer envelope, showing your information, and seal it. Next, sign and date the declaration on the front of the outer envelope. Lastly, put the envelope in the ballot box. Voting by mail. When you vote by mail, you vote by special ballot. Voting by special ballot is different than voting at advance polls or on election day. After an election is called, anyone who is eligible to vote, a Canadian citizen, 18 years old on election day, can vote by mail. However, you must first apply for a special ballot, and deadlines apply. Where? You can vote by mail from anywhere, including if you live in Canada and are in your riding, but you don't want or are not able to go to an advance or election day poll to vote. Live in Canada but are away from your riding. Live outside Canada. To learn more about voting by special ballot, visit elections.ca. When? The deadline to apply to vote by mail is the Tuesday before Election Day, 6 p.m. Apply as soon as possible after an election is called, because you'll need enough time for your special ballot voting kit to arrive by mail and for you to return your completed ballot to Elections Canada by Election Day. What to expect? Step 1. Apply to vote by mail. You can apply to vote by mail by requesting an application for registration and special ballot online at elections.ca, at any local Elections Canada office across the country, by calling Elections Canada at 1-800-463-6868 or 1-800-361-8935 TTY. You will need to also provide proof of your identity and address when you apply. Remember, once you've applied to vote by mail, it's the only way you can vote in that election. You can't change your mind and vote at advance polls or on Election Day. Step 2. Get your special ballot voting kit. When Elections Canada accepts your application, you will receive a special ballot voting kit in the mail. The kit includes a special ballot, 2 envelopes to keep your vote secret, instructions on how to complete and mail in your special ballot. Step 3. Complete your ballot. Your special ballot will be blank. It won't list the names of the candidates in your riding. You will need to write the first and last name of the candidate you're voting for. The final list of candidates will only be available about 3 weeks before Election Day. If you already know who you're voting for, you can complete your ballot before then. If you aren't sure or prefer to wait until all the candidates in your riding are confirmed, you can wait until the final list is published. You can find the names of the candidates in your riding on the Voter Information Service or by calling Elections Canada at 1-800-463-6868 or 1-800-361-8935 TTY. The list is updated regularly as candidates are confirmed, and the final list is published about 3 weeks before Election Day. Write the first and last name of the candidate you want to vote for on your special ballot. If you write only the name of a political party, your vote won't be counted. Step 4. Keep your vote secret. Place your completed special ballot in the unmarked inner envelope provided and seal it. Then place the unmarked inner envelope in the outer envelope showing your information and seal it. Lastly, sign and date the declaration on the front of the outer envelope. Step 5. Return your special ballot. Mail the special ballot to Elections Canada using the pre-addressed return envelope provided. Your completed special ballot must arrive at Elections Canada by the Election Day deadline, or it will not be counted. Look at the return address for Elections Canada on your special ballot envelope. If the return envelope is addressed to 440 Coventry Road in Ottawa, your special ballot must arrive by 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Election Day. If the return envelope is addressed to your local Elections Canada office, your special ballot must arrive before the polls close in your riding on Election Day. Did you know? When it's time to count the special ballots, an election worker will remove all the blank inner envelopes from the signed outer envelopes. The election worker will then put only the blank inner envelopes in the ballot box and mix them up. This way, no one can trace a ballot back to the voter, and their vote remains secret. Accessibility tools and services. Will you need any assistance at the polls? If you have a disability and need help, or are helping someone else, choose the voting option that will best meet your or the voter's needs. With a little planning, you can make sure that voting is as easy and accessible as possible. Keep in mind that you may need to make arrangements for some services before voting. The accessibility of your polling station. Once an election is called, here are some ways you can make sure that your assigned polling station meets your accessibility needs. Check your voter information card. It will show whether your assigned polling station is accessible. Visit the Voter Information Service and enter your postal code in the search box. The accessibility features of your assigned polling station will be listed. Call Elections Canada at 1-800-463-6868 or 1-800-361-8935 TTY. If your assigned polling station does not meet your accessibility needs, or if you live in a community where there's no polling station within a reasonable distance from your home, call Elections Canada at 1-800-463-6868 or 1-800-361-8935 TTY. We'll help you find another polling station or discuss other ways to vote. Call as early as possible so there's enough time to make arrangements. The deadline to call Elections Canada about accessibility needs is the Tuesday before Election Day, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Accessibility tools and services. Elections Canada offers many tools and services to make voting in a federal election easier. You can call Elections Canada or visit any Elections Canada office to find out in advance what accessibility tools and services will be available to you when you go to vote. Voting assistance tools and services available on Election Day include ballot with candidate names in large print and Braille lists of candidates, tactile and Braille voting templates, magnifiers, signature guides, accessible voting locations, language and sign language interpretation and other assistance upon request in advance, assistance marking your ballot, bring someone you know or ask an election worker, large grip pencils, or you can bring your own pen or pencil. You're also welcome to bring help when you vote. For example, a friend or family member, your service animal, or an assistive device, such as a mobile device or smartphone. To request voting assistance in advance, including language and sign language interpretation, call the Elections Canada office in your riding by the Tuesday before Election Day, 6 p.m. You can find the number on your voter information card. by entering your postal code into the Voter Information Service box at elections.ca. By calling Elections Canada at 1-800-463-6868 or 1-800-361-8935, TTY. Voting options for electors living in a hospital, long-term care facility, or seniors' residence. In some ridings, election workers take mobile polls to certain facilities, such as long-term care institutions or seniors' residences, at scheduled times so that electors who live there can vote. This service isn't available in all facilities. To learn more about the services offered at facilities in your riding, call your local Elections Canada office or call Elections Canada headquarters at 1-800-463-6868 or 1-800-361-8935, TTY. Voting in hospitals where people stay for a short time is different, since the electors receiving care in these facilities don't live there. Elections Canada has procedures to allow these electors to register and vote by special ballot while they're in the hospital. Voting at home. Electors who are unable to read, unable to vote by special ballot, or unable to go to a voting location because of a disability can request to vote at home. Electors who request to vote at home must meet the criteria outlined in the Canada Elections Act. You must consider all other voting options first before you request to vote at home. If you or a family member needs this service, you must request it from the local Elections Canada office by the Tuesday before Election Day, 6 p.m. If your request is approved, an election worker will come to your home and help you vote. Did you know? You can find all the official information you need to vote at elections.ca. The website is fully accessible and has information in multiple languages. You can also order products in many other formats, including large print, braille, and audio. While most electors can vote using one of the options listed above, some cannot. Elections Canada has special services for the following groups: members of the Canadian Armed Forces, Canadians living abroad, Canadians living in hospitals or long-term care facilities, electors experiencing homelessness, incarcerated electors, electors in remote work locations. Information in multiple languages. If you require service in a language other than English or French, visit elections.ca for voting information in multiple languages. Call Elections Canada at 1-800-463-6868 or 1-800-361-8935, TTY. We offer language interpretation services by phone. Call your local Elections Canada office ahead of time to request language interpretation at your assigned polling station on Election Day. For the best experience, access this toolkit on our website.